70 against Everton, so I don't think it makes a massive difference. Amrim's so stubborn and has no credit to back it up, says Gideon. If these owners don't sign a midfielder in January, I don't see us finishing higher than 8th, says Aylis. I don't blame the players. How can you change an entire back three and expect to don't concede goals? It's madness, says Richie. Long shot deflections only get you so far, says Daffit. Don't think Amrim knows what he's doing, says Glenn Castle. Compare United squad to his Sporting squad, it's worse, says Ryan. These players must take accountability. How you go ultra defensive and concede from a set play, says CM. The worst thing about that goal, the worst thing about that goal from West Ham is that every corner they'd taken was shit, and then the one that was decent, we can't defend it. We didn't hold that lead that long. Shocking, says Showtime. The ref was shite. He signals that he'll add more time during injury time, but doesn't. Clear bias decisions. Where was Wan-Bissaka's second yellow? I think Sek, the referee being shit is something very separate. We can't use that as an excuse. We can't. There's nothing about that referee performance that cost us the win today. Like, that's on us. Andy says 10 years of shit. You pressured the club to sign Dorgu when we could have waited for Aït-Nouri, and you're doing it again with the Gallagher talk. Who is this idiot? Who is this idiot? I didn't even know we were signing Dorgu. We were meant to be signing Mendes. It's got nothing to do. You're wasting my time. You're wasting my time. What are you talking about? Nobody likes to sack a manager, but now is the time. Too much doubt for too long. We can still salvage a decent spot in the league with the manager bounce, and Cobby can play. Continues to rely on Shaw and Dalot like Ollie and Ten Hag, says Luke. Keel says, if Amrim doesn't succeed, I'd consider Carrick or McLaren or both, says Keel. Yoro literally leaves the guy alone, Mark. That's twice Yoro has cost us points, says FedEx. Goal difference for United is at +1. We need goals for the tie, says Andrew. West Ham and everyone is this team's the only difference is players like who can turn something into... Mate, I don't know what you're saying there. I'm Jensen. You need to rewrite that. Terry said, sack Amrim. The owners are the issue, says MMA Takedown. Oh yeah, I mean, sacking Amorim just is like very, very short term, but that's what fans do. Like, the owners have caused all this. We'll give them another opportunity to send us even further down. The sub hurting us again. I'd really want to sell Agate and loan Dorgu. Casemiro is hanging by a thread. I don't understand Cunha being subbed at all. I completely agree, John. Wan-Bissaka should have been sent off, says Nathan. Martinez needs to start. No leader in the back line. Shaw was exposed, says Patrick. Amrim is leaving. That he shouldn't make any sub, says Kai. We've blown our chance after our mini run. Simple, says MUFC Music. If we lose to Wolves, is that Amrim's Watford? Well,
Bonsoir à tous, merci d'avoir choisi notre soirée de football plutôt qu'une série ou un film. On va tout faire pour essayer de vous donner raison. Les conditions de jeu sont bonnes, le ciel est dégagé, la lumière est belle, les tribunes sont pleines, la pelouse est dans un état presque parfait. Espérons maintenant que les joueurs vont être à la hauteur de leur réputation et pourront exprimer tout leur talent, car vu le nom aligné sur la feuille de match, on va se régaler. Des tribunes bleues et grenades, un hymne qui retentit, pas de doute, on est dans un temple du football, au Camp Nou, l'antre de l'un des plus grands clubs au monde, le FC Barcelone. Si vous nous rejoignez, le coup d'envoi vient juste d'être donné. Le FC Barcelone contre le Celtic. L'entraîneur a donc choisi son système 4-4-2.
Dans ce système, les milieux axiaux ont un rôle clé. Ils doivent produire beaucoup d'efforts à la fois pour accompagner les attaques, mais aussi dans les replacements défensifs. Il faut trouver le bon équilibre. En ayant par exemple un joueur qui reste libre pour venir compenser à la passe de balle.
C'est joué long. Ouais, c'est bien ça.
Amrim is not good enough, says Oni. The subs are awful. He's tactically clueless. He will not turn things around. He has to go.
C'était pas mal.
Amrim messed up. Should have gone for the jugular, says Pete. If that's what we do against West Ham, what we do against the likes of Bayern.
La profondeur, bien vu. C'est intercepté, ça aurait pu faire mal.
Newcastle. You're not looking at a team like West Ham. You're looking at.
Éclairez-nous, Darren. Vous voyez qui comme homme du match?
Possible que ce soit Son. Comme beaucoup de grands joueurs coréens, il n'a pas peur de courir. Et il le fait avec le sourire. Son énergie pourrait faire la différence.
Et c'est vrai que son équipe compte énormément sur lui.
Dommage qu'il n'ait pas levé la tête. Il aurait sans doute pu trouver un coéquipier démarqué.
Mark, I'm not one for picking on players, but Bruno needs
il est
to
passé.
Messi
qui file, plein axe. Une intervention musclée, mais dans les
The look on Berardi and Wilcox's faces at the end said enough.
Messi, quelle
Jim can't
intervention
even
de
manage
Thibaut
these properly.
Courtois.
Fans beating up their players, so what do we expect at United, says Adoni. Xerxes
Il se
being
fait
overlooked is such an English thing to do.
attention.
Says,
Le but superbe du FC Barcelone.
Why are you confused?
Impossible pour le
City's system, Haaland has the most
Oui,
shots
en plus, j'ai l'impression qu'il ne lève même pas la tête au moment de la frappe. Il savait où était le but et le gardien. Il n'avait plus qu'à déclencher cette frappe.
One clear chance at home to West Ham. Counter FC, says Anthony.
Le FC Barcelone qui a donc ouvert le score.
Bon, ça c'est fait. Maintenant, il va falloir garder ce tempo.
Sean McDermott, thanks for being a member for 20 months. Amrim's objectively the worst coach in the Premier League, says Ben Leach. When have we played well for 2 games in a row under Amrim, says NFC.
Il remporte son duel.
Amrim's system is a modified 3-2-5 like Arteta. Once again, Ruben dropped the ball with the subs and games management, trying to keep a low score.
Le Celtic, qui est toujours mené au score, preuve encore une fois que dominer n'est pas toujours gagné.
Tells me
Oui, la bonne
can't
course.
believe how bad Bruno is, says Marlowe. No leadership. Bowen and Bissaka man of the match. Embarrassing. And how's old Amrim need to go. Amrim and Bruno need to go to progress, says Anthony Giroud. How is Bruno playing next
C'était bien joué cette interception.
Right,
Dommage
let's
que
do
ça
the
manque d'application dans le
player
geste
ratings
final.
because the fan forum are waiting for us as well, and it's only fair that they get their chance too. Loads of good comments coming in. Look, in summary, a lot of people are saying it.
Il tente la frappe.
I think the big thing to say is, and he said it
Intervention
in
de
June,
Thibaut Courtois.
unfortunately, the decision to keep Bruno Fernandes and then to play him as a midfielder could be,
Beau être
as we
mené au
said in
score, on
June,
sait qu'ils ont le
the decision
potentiel
that
pour
cost you
revenir
your
dans ce
job.
match.
Ultimately, the way Ten Hag treated
Jones.
De Gea was the beginning of the end for him. And you could look at Amrim
Ligt.
deciding to use Bruno as a midfielder as the beginning of the end for him too. These big decisions, if you get them wrong, you fall on that sword, don't you? And I think many of you
Jones
said that.
maintenant.
We discussed it. Lement would be a
Walker.
6 for me. I don't think he did anything wrong.
Bien, la
I don't think
profondeur.
he did
Quel bon
anything on the
appel.
goal, and
Oh,
he
quel
didn't really have a lot
geste.
to do. But unfortunately,
Et il
he's a
dépossède du
goalkeeper,
ballon.
he's conceding goals. He can't really do anything
Superbe
about it.
intervention contre un joueur qui part
Amrim
en
saying
dribble comme ça,
struggling
il
to
faut pas
defend
se
set
rater.
pieces.
Bon,
with the
vous allez me
defense
pardonner,
tight,
mais là,
get
on
Bowen's
commence à
guarding zone,
s'ennuyer.
now jumps
Pas
over
de
the
mouvement,
stadium.
c'est beaucoup trop
So
long.
basically, if we don't have Harry Maguire and De Ligt, we're going to struggle.
Palmer.
I thought Mazraoui
Ouais, il
did
y avait
well.
danger, mais il a
6.5
bien
for me.
jailli.
My man of the match.
Valverde.
I actually think he.
Le FC
won't
Barcelone
be man
a
of the match,
décidé
but
de
I
mettre
actually
le
think he
pied
was
sur
man
le
of the match.
ballon, on dirait.
He was back to his best
C'est pas
today.
faux. Vous savez, la
He was our
clé
best
pour avoir la
defender,
possession, ce n'est pas tellement d'avoir des joueurs très techniques,
so well.
mais surtout
so
qui seront
well to
disponibles
try
et qui
and,
gèrent bien la pression de l'adversaire.
stop that goal. But
Ça peut
unfortunately,
partir
we
en
decided
contre.
to unmark
Son,
somebody in our own
balle au pied.
6-yard box.
Le bon
Aiden Heaven
dribble.
struggled, fine. You know, he did struggle, but you know, he's a
Une
young
occasion.
player who's been thrown into a game, and I think he's
Il a essayé d'y aller seul, mais sans
Luke Shaw
réussite.
today, I'd probably give him a 5.5. Again, a decent first half. Second half, he's blowing out his arse.
De
And
Ligt.
I've been saying this for a while. Luke Shaw
Et un contact
cannot play
qui n'était pas
90
régulier,
minutes. In
coup
the
franc.
second half of every game, he falls asleep. You know, he's not. He can't do it.
Et maintenant
Can't do
Bruno
it.
Fernandes.
Ahmad,
La
mixed bag.
grosse intervention.
6 for me. Good bits.
C'est joué dans l'espace.
Defensively,
C'est bien construit ça.
he was okay. Going forward,
Le centre
he was
qui
good
monte sa
moments,
cible de
but
quelques centimètres.
6 for Ahmad today, average. Casemiro was below average today, 5.5 for me. 5.7 from you.
Le coup de sifflet, l'arbitre renvoie tout le monde au vestiaire. Ça va être l'occasion pour le joueur d'écouter le discours de l'entraîneur. Un seul but inscrit dans cette seconde période.
Ah, ça a manqué d'envie dans cette première mi-temps. On va peut-être voir des changements pour la deuxième période.
Bruno first half I thought was like good, but not as a midfielder. He was in right wing, left wing. He was all over the place, and he was playing quite well. He nearly scored a good volley. Second half,
L'arbitre siffle le coup d'envoi de la seconde période.
Just give Bruno a 6.
Bon, je vais faire un peu mon capitaine obvious, mais il reste encore toute une mi-temps.
I
Il n'y
do
a pas de
think
quoi
first
s'attendre
half
non plus.
Bruno was okay. Second half, he got time.
Il reçoit le ballon.
Delot,
C'est joué dans la profondeur. La frappe.
I'd give him a 7 for the goal and a fucking 2.
Et l'arbitre désigne le point de pénalty.
C'est une occasion en or d'égaliser.
Je peux comprendre que ce soit frustrant de se retrouver dans cette situation, mais il doit s'en vouloir, même si la faute était presque inévitable.
You'd always scored that. Stevie Wonder would have scored that, but it's the long throw-ins. It's the long throw-ins. And Burmo, 5.5
La chance
today.
d'égaliser sur cette
He's
action.
caught the bug, hasn't he? He's caught that bug of. I mean, look, this needs to be studied. You know, there's people doing.
Oh, la
all
frappe
sorts of
parfaite,
pieces
les deux
for
équipes à égalité.
their degrees.
Et à
Somebody
aucun moment
needs to
il ne donne
study
l'impression d'avoir douté.
you know,
Aucun
can I get
signe
in
de
contact
nervosité,
with the, you
comme
know,
une lettre à la
British
poste.
science museum or something study how a player can be performing week in, week out, when they come to Manchester United and they gradually lose that momentum. What is it about the culture of Manchester United that takes that down? It's madness.
Le jeu reprend sur un score de parité.
Eh bien, on savait que ce match serait serré et ça se confirme.
Oh, voici Kane.
Oh, Messi. À droite.
Ça peut être dangereux. Ah, ça n'ira pas au bout.
It's starting to happen with Mbeumo. Like, it doesn't look anything like
C'est une remise en jeu.
It's the United curse of Lord. Same with Cunha, but I sort of understand it with Cunha because I've said this from the very start. We're not.
Bon jaillissement, il fallait
At
intervenir.
least with Mbeumo, he likes the ball over the top. Cunha needs a Mainu to play or a Mount to play the ball into his feet. When I think about Cunha at Wolves, and I'm watching the highlights, he gets the ball into the feet, he spins, he runs into space. We're so slow at moving the ball forward.
Oh, voici
when he
Kane.
gets the ball, if he gets the ball, he's got 6 players around him.
Oh,
And
ils
he
ont
very rarely
récupéré
gets the
cache ce
ball.
ballon perdu.
So, Cunha is a player who needs the ball into his feet quickly. And we're not utilising it. It's like buying a striker and not giving them service.
Busquets.
So I like Cunha, but we're just
Comme
not
quoi, le
giving
discours de
him
l'entraîneur à la
service.
mi-temps a été payant.
I thought Xerxes, for me, was at
Le ballon
least
a
a
franchi
6
la ligne.
today. I thought that, you know, he played a good few attempted assists. He worked his arse off, but he's in a very good shift. Simple as that. Yoro,
C'est
I'd have to
centré dans
scrutinise
l'axe.
the goal, but probably a 5.5. No, I would like to give Yoro a 6. He made a couple of good blocks. I'd have to see the goal again. But he did make. I thought Yoro did all right when he came on, actually.
Kyle
Martinez
Walker.
wasn't on long enough. Garte
Busquets.
was on long enough.
Palmer maintenant.
Dorgu.
Jones. Et bon contact, c'est récupéré.
Oh, voici Kane.
Mount.
Messi.
Messi.
Et ça ne passe toujours pas.
Il domine carrément en ce moment. Il s'est passé tout près 2-3 fois. À force de
Amrin
tenter,
today,
ça va
look,
finir par
look,
entrer.
I'll be honest with you. If Amrin gets the win, we're sat here going, you know, poor performance, but give him a 6 or 7. But those substitutes, and more importantly, trying to defend a 1-0 lead with 15 minutes to go
Busquets.
against the team that wasn't attacking. I never understand that. I'll never understand it.
Palmer
Right? You can
maintenant.
anticipate
Il relance côté
they're going
droit.
to start to have chances. But
Il
when he
cherche la
made those
profondeur.
subs,
Palmer.
we were still attacking. We'd gone
La
1-0 up,
frappe.
and we were still on top.
C'est pas fini.
And it was like,
Oh, but pour
I'm
le
going to give you
Celtic.
15 minutes to attack us. And
Voilà
I'll
la
never
situation
understand that.
complètement
I'll never
inversée.
understand that. Why would you do that? They weren't attacking us.
Le gardien n'a pas pu capter le ballon sur le premier tir et il l'a payé cash.
C'est vrai que c'est une grosse boulette, mais surtout l'attaquant a bien
Man of the match,
fait.
Delo. Well done. Congratulations. Scored a goal, didn't he? Scored a goal. Right, we need to get over to the match reaction. The fan forum, sorry. We're not spamming Amrin out, because then everyone will think, oh, we should have done
Les
that.
voici avec
If
un
you
but
go over there
d'avance.
spamming Amrin out,
Ce n'est
you're
jamais
basically
facile
gonna
de
make them
résister à une
think, I
équipe
told
qui
you
joue
to
sans
say
va-tout.
Amrin out,
Et
and you
pourtant,
didn't.
ils vont
I
devoir
would
tenir.
say
Ballon perdu, c'est
shocking.
dommage.
That's my word of the night.
Voici Bergkamp. Bien servi.
I'm actually shocked.
Il est bien placé.
Il met le pied, ballon récupéré.
At least we haven't got that
Oh,
long
il a
to
pris des
wait
risques, ce sera un coup franc.
until Wolves
Et il est sanctionné. Carton jaune.
Shocking. I'll see you on the morning show at 10. Get yourself over to the fan forum. Let's see what they've got to
Attention,
say. I'm
danger,
interested to see
ce
what
coup franc
everyone
est très
else
bien
has to say,
placé.
actually. Take
S'ils
care, everyone.
encaissent un but
Stay safe.
maintenant,
I'll
ils
speak
seront
to you.
trop loin derrière. Bruno Fernandes.
Il l'a tenté en force.
Il récupère directement sur le dégagement. Bellingham. Et c'était bien dans l'idée, mais la passe n'était pas assez
and
précise.
of course, the godfather, Ricky.
Messi.
How do
Oui,
we
ça peut être
even
dangereux.
need to ask
C'est
this? How
intercepté,
are we
moderne pour la
feeling?
défense.
I'm just being nice by asking that, by the way.
Ça peut être dangereux.
Where do we start? Where do we start to dissect exactly
Un bon
what's
pressing des
happened
attaquants et voilà
here
comment
at Old
poste
Trafford?
défense à attaque. C'est bien joué.
I mean, where do we start? I mean, looking at the chart, everyone's speaking about
Ligt.
Amrin, so we may as well start on Amrin. To be fair, I feel like Osman, you probably got more to say than me. I said
Bruno
before, I'm
Fernandes.
not fully putting the blame on him. It's just, I'm not surprised
Kane.
with some people, but I know Osman obviously
Attention.
Yeah, well,
I do not
Profiter.
understand why we can't play more creative football and create more chances when we can dominate the play. Because we did dominate the play for quite a long period. And West Ham did okay as well at times, but we dominated the play. We had lots of possession of the ball, and we just cannot take the game to people and create good chances. We just can't do it, no matter who we're playing against. 10 minutes today against West Ham. Okay,
Il aurait pu donner de l'air à
you
son
take a
équipe.
goal from
Il
wherever
va être
it
déçu,
comes
c'est
from.
sûr.
I haven't seen it. I was at the game, so I haven't seen it replayed. But I think our goal was a miss-hit shot from the edge of the box that went to Dalot. It wasn't a creative bit of play.
I think at the time Usman was trying to say it was a great assist from Casemiro, but I was like,
I don't want to take it away from Casemiro, but
Did he get the assist, did he?
Yeah, no, he basically tried to
he missed it.
Hit both of his feet and then ends up on Dalot.
So we just can't create chances in.
Can I pick you up on something, Ricky? You said when you first come in, which I was actually gobsmacked by. You said you thought Manchester United actually played good football at times this evening.
Football at times, we did, but it's just like final. I was going to say final third, but sometimes in the final third we get a few decent passes and a bit of movement, but it's literally the last bit in the
qui a
box.
su, on l'a vu, tromper la défense adverse.
We've got a decent striker in Zirkzee. He's playing okay with his back to goal. He's not the number 9 that you can see bursting into the box and playing into some goal.
Et l'équipe peut le remercier si elle mène
He's a
encore,
striker
c'est
who's
bien
decent with his
grâce à
back to
lui.
goal. That's his strength.
Yeah.
And again, he was involved in us playing some of the good football. You see, I was about to say we need a goal scorer. Obviously, it would be better if you had a good goal scorer. But I think we've been saying since we had Anthony Martial that it's a graveyard shift. There's not enough chances. And something I'd like to bring up as well, by the way, because Anthony Martial, 4 or 5 years ago, it's been a graveyard shift. And yet, on the other hand, people told me we've got the most creative player in the league. Make it make sense. No, seriously, is it a graveyard shift? Make it make sense. Does it make sense, does it though?
No, I think Bruno did put those. I'm not even going to talk. I don't think Bruno was even.
Should we carry on with the Amand before we go on to Bruno?
Yeah, let's stick to Amand.
Look, for me,
what's this tactically or team selection or both this evening?
I genuinely think this is completely down to Amand. I know me and Morgan had a bit of a chat off and we don't agree on it, but for me it just comes down to setup, intensity, pressing off the ball. There's been 3 games where I've seen in Amand's stint that I thought, there's actually something here. Brighton, Sunderland and Liverpool, and 3 games in a row where we all thought we turned the corner. Results aside, I'm talking about the actual performances, how we set us up, in particular against Sunderland, which that win has aged fantastically now for us. But if you go back to that Sunderland game in particular, Cunha and Bremer in particular were getting praised for their off-the-ball work. Oh, look how much they're pressing off the ball, like they're running. We have not seen that, bar the odd them 3 odd games. For me, look, you've got to defend from the front first things first. You're at home, where's the intensity, where's the desire to win the ball back? There's absolutely none of it, and that comes from the manager. And on top of that, Bruno Fernandes, I discredit him a lot, and I do criticize him a lot, but he was the only person in that first half was actually making a run from deep that actually stretched the defence, and Bruno wasn't doing it, Zirkzee wasn't doing it, Cunha wasn't doing it, all 3 wanted the ball to feed, made it extremely easy to play against, and then the fullback, the wingback, Amad was absolutely brilliant for me, my personal opinion. He did everything he could. I know Dalot got the goal, but Dalot does not help us, Dogu does not help us. We're basically playing a man live because we don't create any overload, we don't create any overlap. When we do create those situations, the delivery is absolutely non-existent. So to come back to obviously the point of lack of creativity, it comes down to the lack of quality and the way that we actually approach the game. For me, with no urgency whatsoever, and it's not going to help us.
Manager tactics or players? Where does the blame actually go to?
I don't think you can ever put it 100% on either side, regardless, whatever the game is. You can never say it's 100% the players or 100% the manager. I mean, we spoke to Frankie from Hammers TV before, and he said, like the manager is in control of every situation that you put it on the pitch. So the intensity, the passion, the culture of the club, the urge to go and win even at half time, like what is the manager saying to the players at half time, everything comes down to the manager in that sense. However, you still got to look at the players and think, like for example, the corner. For me,
as a manager, you've got obviously set-piece coaches that work with the players. Amra's not the one who's telling them what to do in the corner, etc. But I just think on a corner, that genuinely just comes down to the players. You have to pick up your men. You have to use your eyes as big, grown, professional footballers to identify a free man in the box and pick him up. That's what you should be doing regardless. I can't put that on the manager, in my opinion. That's why I don't fully blame Amrin in that sense, because realistically, that corner, obviously, if they don't score from it, then obviously goals into
the goals obviously not the manager's fault, because we all agree with that.
Certain things are out of his control. Certain actions that he can react to.
It's the wider issue. It's not even, forget the corner for a second. That is what it is. That's been there before Amrin coming on the tonight. It's the wider issue, the tactics, the way we set up. Like I said, you're at home, you're 1-0 up against West Ham, and why are we taking our foot off the gas? And again, that comes back to the players need to take responsibility on the pitch. I completely hear that point. But Amrin, as a manager, if I'm Ruben Amrin, I'm seeing the players basically walking on the pitch with the ball at their feet at 1-0. I'm on the touchline, I'm barking orders at them. I'm trying to get him fired up again. We were walking on that, we're 4-0 up at home. For me, it's just. It's not really firstly, but secondly, like Ruben Amrin, for me, he doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. If I'm being quiet for a minute, he looks clueless. The substitutions, I mean, me and Kev were laughing about it, but it does happen. The like-for-like substitutions are absolutely embarrassing. Like, there was a bit of creativity, and the one time he used creativity, he takes off Zirkzee. Like, what are you doing? Like, our only striker to put a move on top, who I'm a big fan of, so, I mean, he tried to be different, and it's just bad for everything. Like, you can't be doing stuff like that, killing those, and maybe not coming out again, like, we should have done.
We will do. There's obviously quotes coming out from Ruben Amorim. I might just save them one for the minute, but I think that the main quote of this evening was the pressure, why are you playing for Manchester United? Which is quite scathing. He's gone on to say, I don't trust or believe in this team. Defensively and in midfield, there are huge questions. I wouldn't trust or believe in this team that they can get results.
We were so front, surely we can't score goals, can we?
Has scoring goals been an issue? I don't think coming into this. At most, we're conceding more, aren't we? We're scoring more than conceding.
I said it before on the fan forum. If you're going to ask me to put money on anything, it's not going to concede anything. We're going to concede a goal. I think we're 18th or 19th for clean sheets. That's horrible. That's terrible. Yeah, I think the only team that's below us is Wolves. So we're basically left. Wolves are terrible. You know what I mean? So when it comes to not conceding, and yes, you can say our defence right now is a bit makeshift. Aiden Heaven coming into the team, etc. Martinez and
scoring goals and conceding goals is a team thing. It's not just your defence that costs you goals. It's not just your forwards. When I say to score goals, of course you probably expect forwards and attackers to score more goals, but it's actually getting those chances. It's a team thing. It's all a team thing.
Yeah. But even when it comes to scoring goals, one point that I want to make is in terms of like the whole striker situation. Because I agree. I said before, I think Zirkzee was very good today, and I think ever since he got his goal, I think he's kind of been a flick of a switch almost, and he's kind of got this newfound confidence, and he's doing exactly what we saw him do last season. The difference is now is it almost feels like his role wasn't necessarily to be this link-up player, because now there's nobody behind him. And it's like he's linking up, and Mbeumo's kind of linking up with Ahmad, and Ahmad's running down the wing, and he's trying to create chances and whatnot. But then when it comes to being inside the box, there is nobody there for us to actually finish the chance. And it's like Zirkzee's doing what we actually want him to do. He's doing an amazing job. But it's like we need someone in front of him. We need a striker to be there where when he is dropping in deep to link up play, who is the guy behind him making the run to go and finish the chance. We don't have that player on the pitch right now.
I do agree with you, but I think we'd have to play 4-4-2 for that to happen.
I mean, that's another conversation.
Because what you're saying there, really, is if you've got a striker who's even further forward than Zirkzee, that means Zirkzee is one of the two number 10s. Yeah. Don't forget, we ended up with Bruno as a number 10 because he brought Ugarte on, but even before that, we've usually got any two, sometimes Ahmad, 4 players really. We've got Kuna, we've got Mbeumo, and we've got Ahmad, we've got Mason Mount. I know it was a one-off for Bruno today. But there's 4 players there for the 2 spots, so if we Zirkzee's going to play there, it's 5 players for
I was about to say, I don't think the Zirkzee thing is an issue for me, personally. I actually quite like the way he played today. a lot of people are saying he didn't play that well, but if you actually watch the game back, his link-up play,
Quelle grosse frappe, et pourtant il était loin.
Je crois qu'il a mis de l'effet. Le gardien avait l'air complètement perdu. En tout cas, le tir était parfait.
Similar to how Fabinho was facilitated for Mane, and this is kind of what I want Zexi to do for Ghana. And Cunha, I'm a big fan of Cunha, but I've got to actually be honest, I think he's absolutely atrocious. And I think he's the reason, what you just mentioned, he does that look at obviously so aggressive last season. They had that partnership, but Cunha in particular, he should be the one, picking up those pockets and obviously going beyond because he just plays fast as well. So for me, I'm very disappointed.
Ils vont sans doute être plus détendus maintenant. Et qui sait, peut-être même prendre le large.
As well in terms of the license to roam around. He's not really getting involved. And I think for me, obviously Antonio just had a poor game today, but Cunha in particular, big fan of his, he has to step up. I think Zirkzee did what he could do with the two players.
On est à la demi-heure de jeu, ou quasiment. C'est parfait, magnifique.
I was going to say, sorry, I know you got a whole show.
No, go for it, mate.
I slightly disagree in the Cunha sense because I don't think that's Cunha's game. I don't think you can ask Cunha to be that target man when his game is to get the ball and to drive with it. His game is give it the ball.
Not target man. I want him to run beyond.
That's what I mean. That's not Cunha's
game. He did do it against Liverpool,
but that's not Cunha's game. Cunha's game has never been I'm going to be the guy who's going to run in behind and just finish all deeper in, and I'm going to drive and carry the ball up. I might drift out to a wide area, maybe like link up play there, but I might even go down the line and put in a cross. That's Cunha's game. Most of Cunha's goals, you look at it for even like Wolves, like it comes from him creating his own chances. He'll get the ball.
In the pocket, like you are right.
You know what I mean? So
more as a 10.
If he's being asked to do that, then I guess that's back to the manager. Why are you asking Cunha to do that?
The main reason I said it is because he has played in strike quite a lot, even at Wolves for us as well. So you would think he'd have that natural instinct to occupy that space if it's free by Zirkzee. So it's more so from that perspective. But you're right, he does occupy the 10 territory more than, and Bruno probably would be the one that realistically do it. But for me, he needs to step up, man. He's not
one thing I wanted to do very quickly, much appreciation to everyone that's commenting in the live comment section and the super chats as well. I'll just get these out. I think there is a few questions. So if they're half decent, the panel will answer them. Jam7, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Syria MT says, how is Bruno playing every week? And this is all in capital letters, so they're obviously raging. Side passes all game, not creative enough, missed easy chances. We won't win any major with Bruno in this team. This is obviously summing up what the fan base is feeling tonight. I mean, there's a lot of people coming over from Mark's stream as well. Hashtag Amorim out, it started again, obviously. And people will correctly ask questions of this manager this evening. This is not the first time. It's not a game in isolation that we've looked at. It's that kind of sense of, even when we went 1-0 where you start kind of feeling it, isn't it? Me and Usman were watching the game together and we were like, it's happening. We're sitting back for some reason as if we're 3 or 4-0 up. We're not good enough to do it. Kyle Robinson says McLaren and Carrick in. Any takers? No. Okay, we'll move on. David says, would anyone on the panel give Amorim a new contract? Just the one-word answer will do.
He's got a year left, hasn't he?
What's he getting a new contract?
Yeah, I think
we've got a new contract yet. Let's see how we do next year.
Yeah, that's planning ahead. Joe Davies says, if we have players that can give 6 out of 10 ratings a week and we play them out of position, we are shocked when the whole team looks manager. Simply Red says, once again, Ruben dropped ball with subs and game management, trying to keep a 1-0 score, taking Zirkzee off when he was man of match, and main outlet naive. Kieran KJ says, Wan-Bissaka was the best United player today. I think that's something we will comment on this later on, because I was absolutely amazed by the performance of Wan-Bissaka, obviously a former Manchester United player. Leon says, let us not forget the game against Arsenal. That was a glimpse of what Amorim is trying to do. Midfield to attack, transition is killing us, not consistent. What I would say is, how long ago was that game? First game of the season against Arsenal? Surely the eye test, thank you very much for the super chat, but would you not look at that and think that was the start of the season? What we're talking back in, 6 months ago? 5? Yeah, you did the maths. Exactly. I mean, we've seen enough in between then to suggest that something is not right. Jack Cassidy says, can't stand the hybrid making at set pieces, and the team is most unfit in the league and have been for years. Hence, the lack of quality and consistency. Bobby says, I'm afraid I see Wolves getting their first 3 points from us. This team and coach disgusts me. I'll get through the rest of them shortly. There's loads coming in. Obviously, the United Standard is your channel, so make sure you get involved and let us get it off your chest. The Therapy Forum is in full flow. Ricky, we were on Xerxes then. I remember a fan forum where you said you liked Xerxes because he was, I think in your words, a big horse of a man. Big horse of a man it was. Are you starting to see a bit more from him? I've been critical of him where I've gone, I need to see a little bit more. But
I think I've already covered it earlier. I think Marge as well spoke about his
from the game today, that's
his link-up play is good, but you know, it's such a complicated issue. You know, we could do with someone who wants to get on the end of chances, but then we're not making chances anyway. Because he's helping us to play a little bit better. Because he does link the play up. There was one chest pass today he laid off. It was absolutely fantastic on the halfway.
Nice flick for Mbeumo in the second half and nearly put him in as well.
He's a good footballer without a shadow of a doubt.
Intelligent.
Yeah, he's a good footballer. Yeah. But, look, we're miles off it. You know, you could say this about probably every player in the team. Is he good enough to get us where we want to be?
C'est joué long, attention.
I know one of the players you did want to discuss, and was probably a surprise for me and Maud on Countdown's kick-off, when we found out Aidan Heaven was in the starting 11. Yeah. Obviously picked up that booking early on in the game, which I think we probably all agree with will be kind of forced Amorim into that change at half-time. It's nothing again.
He got very shaky, so he got skinned by Wilson, and Wilson crossed it to the back post.
C'est reparti, le score est maintenant de 3-0.
Early in the game, getting skinned into his confidence, which was good. And then Wilson nicks it off, didn't nick it off, and just beat him to it too comfortably on the halfway line. And then he went in late on Bowen and got his yellow card, and I think there was only about 8 minutes on the clock when he got his yellow card.
Just a bit exciting at a moment in time.
I was pretty scathing at the time, but he settled down. He did do okay in the end, and I felt a bit sorry for him, but I think it was also a sensible thing to do being on a card. Young kid, he could easily go into another challenge, and you might end up playing 30 or 40 minutes with 10 men. So I'm pretty certain that the manager would put an arm around him and said, look son, you've done all right, but we're going to have to replace you because we can't afford to be playing 10.
C'était bien dans l'idée, mais la passe n'était pas assez précise.
I 100% agree, and I think he was obviously just, I feel like it's more a case of he was just nervous to impress. He really wanted to do well. It's his first opportunity since that Brighton game. Before that game, he didn't play since Grimsby, so he was obviously thinking, this is my first start in the Premier League this season. I need to do something. I need to get the crowd on the feet. I need to play well. And one thing about the Premier League, which I always hear players who actually play in the Premier League say, is it's about the sharpness. It's not necessarily about you having the best first touch. Everyone can have a good first touch, even in the non-league. But how sharp are you? And I think that kind of showed today. Wilson was a little bit more sharpening, and Bowen was a little bit more sharpening, and that's kind of probably ended up getting the foul, because he got into a challenge which he could make it, and he just about lost it, and obviously had that tackle. So I think it is something that he's going to learn, and I don't think it's the craziest thing for him to play 45 minutes and come off at half-time. I was saying to Ricky before that, you never know. That could have been Amram's plan the whole time. Supposed to be on the bench. It was only because Yoro had a couple of bad games. That's why he kind of brought him out the firing line. And realistically, De Ligt would have been in the team anyway. But obviously, De Ligt had his minor injury. So Amram might have just thought, you know what, let me give Aidan Heaven a little 45 minutes, and then Beno and give him 45 minutes and do it like that. But you never know. Maybe the yellow card did obviously push him to do it anyway. But no, I think for playing at Aidan Heaven, I think he should be happy with that first half. I think he didn't concede a goal. You know, he did have some good defensive actions, some good clearances, some good headed clearances. He's got some good minutes on his belt. Been able to experience Premier League football for the first time, or the second time, but to start off for the first time this season. I think he should leave thinking, you know what, I've done well. I've got a lot to learn, a lot to improve, and we'll go again next time.
Usman, the player that come on for Aidan Heaven was Lenny Yoro. Obviously, he was left out of the team today. However you want to look at that, headlines were probably going to be he was dropped from the team. whether it was part of the plan to bring him on half-time or whether that sort of yellow card influenced Amorim into bringing Yoro on. One thing I would say is I thought Yoro's attitude, the actual performance of when he came on the field, I liked it. That's exactly the response that I want from a Manchester United player. And I'm not saying he didn't put foot wrong, but he certainly got into the game quickly, up to speed, and I thought he did well.
Yeah, I think for all the criticism I have of Ruben, I think that was actually good man management. He actually protected Yoro, because obviously, as Mods alluded to, he's not been great the past couple of games. Il faut en profiter.
Et l'arbitre siffle la fin du match.
Et
quelle différence à l'arrivée au tableau d'affichage. On a vu aujourd'hui quand même de gros problèmes défensifs au niveau du marquage. Bellingham qui reçoit le trophée d'homme du match. Bravo, c'est mérité. C'est l'heure du bilan. Je meurs d'envie de connaître
Ils avaient affiché leurs ambitions dès le départ. Ils ont abordé ce match comme il le fallait. Et cette victoire est logique.
Second ball, which is a bit random, but I don't think this is a hard one to take, but we'll be back stronger. Obviously covered short on a couple of occasions. I think all in all it was a great solid performance, which will help him. He's another young centre back in terms of confidence, and obviously if Delay isn't available for the next game against Wolves, I would expect Yoro to start that one. But yeah, like, he didn't really put a foot wrong. I think from his own personal self, I think he'd be quite happy with that performance.
And Dalot as well, Ricky, another player that does certain sections of the United fan base. Obviously been here a long time.
I thought he had one of his better games today, and I was a bit surprised when he subbed him. I don't know if there's anything wrong with it, but he seems to be, he seems to be fit all the time, Dalot, don't he? So I don't think it was an injury. Is it just for the sake of...
Even on his face, he did seem as if he was like, what, me?
I thought he was playing well.
Usually if somebody's injured...
The number of times he checked back and fed it into Casemiro in the midfield today, and obviously when he checked back, he's right-footed as well, so it's easy for him to pass it like that. Well, a couple of times his crossing wasn't great, but obviously he got the goal. That's going to boost his confidence. Finish. And something that I noticed, and people might think, what are you talking about that for? They might think it's nothing, but I think it's a big thing. He was taking all the throw-ins on our left-hand side. Throw-ins in our own half. And then when he got subbed, Dorgu pushed on when we got a throw-in in our half, and Luke Shaw took the throw-ins after the substitution was made. Now, especially because we're leading at the time, 1-0, I would think that you would keep your defensive shape exactly as you've already got it. Why change it? So it didn't come to this, but it does taking a throw-in. And when you're taking a throw-in and you're playing as a centre-back, even though you're a left-sided centre-back, you're out of position. So you throw that ball down the line, it takes a second, they can head it back, they could be on you, and Luke Shaw's chasing back, do you know what I mean? So I just really couldn't, and nothing happened from it. But I'm a stickler for the little details, and that shouldn't be happening. Dorgu should be taking the throw-ins, just as Dalot was.
But shouldn't that kind of go back to how we end up setting up from... I feel like every circumstance and situation in a game should be thought about in training. So the way I see that is like, if Luke Shaw is taking a throw-in, we go to... we don't go to back four, but we look like we're in a back four because
we do. Yeah,
that's what it should be.
Dorgu, I actually noticed it the very first throw-in because Dorgu went 20 yards further forward, and it might be a plan. Shaw threw it to him, and he headed it on.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it. Why? If that's the plan, then why weren't we doing that with Dalot? Because Dalot's great in the air, by the way, loads of headers today. So you could do the exact same. What is the plan? Why is the plan changing? Do you understand what I mean? You've got two different formats, but you've got two different left backs.
A better question is why would you slip him off? I mean, not like Dorgu's covered himself in any glory, and as we've already mentioned, Dalot was actually having a decent game, and he scores that goal, he's starting to feel himself, and then take him off like 2 minutes later. I mean, the substitutions basically killed us once.
I thought it was a very strange substitution.
I mean,
of course, we'll never know. The thing about it, we will never know what would have happened if he wouldn't have done it. Might still have scored, but they might not.
Yeah.
Continue to get your super chats in. Let us know how you're feeling. Even in the live chat, if you just want to offload. Like I say, if you've got any questions, get them in there. I'll just clear these ones quickly. Arnie says, Xerxes, 0 threat. Therefore, correct sub in theory, poor players the problem. Does anyone agree with that?
What I'll argue back with that is we were talking about his hold-up play, and we were a goal up the absolute exact type of player you need when you're a goal up is somebody who you can hit with the ball, who can get hold of it.
And he took him off for Ugarte. So it's not like he took him off for like Sesko. You know what I mean? Like he took him off for Ugarte. So
it wasn't his usual.
I think what you should do, though, Walt, is look at who took his place. I know the substitution was different, but
the players that were already in, he was already on the pitch, though.
Yeah, I get that. But Mbeumo was still effectively, he's replaced by Mbeumo because Ugarte came here.
Well, that's a mistake as well, but...
I agree, it's a mistake. Zirkzee is more the player who you're going to hit with the ball.
But Mbeumo and Ahmed actually were playing well together. I know we said that Mbeumo didn't have his best game, but Ahmed benefits from Mbeumo because Mbeumo takes a player away from him because he occupies a position which leaves Ahmed in more 1v1s. As soon as Mbeumo goes to the middle, Ahmed's not in a 1v1, he's in a 1v2, which nullifies him and then nullifies our entire attacking creativity. And also, to answer that question, Zirkzee actually would have scored if it wasn't for unbelievable defending by Wan-Bissaka. So, I mean, he cleared it off the line. So,
he had a very... Wan-Bissaka had a few good challenges.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is, but yeah, the substitutions.
Just in terms of what Ruben Amorim has said after this game, I'll throw this out to you first, Ricky, just to see if you agree on it. Is he trying to pull the wool out over our eyes? Or, like I say, is it something that you actually agree with? He says, it was not constant, we had good moments and we lost a little bit of control after the goal. We should have closed the game when we scored the first one. The game was in control, we knew it. Any set piece can be a problem where we couldn't maintain the ball after the goal, losing second balls, running with the ball. They were winning the first ball. We can control that kind of game. We should be better with the ball after the first goal. The characteristics with the players inside the box was sometimes not enough.
Bit of a long statement. Which bit do you want me to comment on?
It's a whole lot of waffle.
You know,
is that a bit of honesty from the manager? Is he accepting?
I think the most important bit is that we lost control of the game after they scored.
Do we ever control games?
Not really. We don't play enough. We don't keep hold of the ball well enough, do we?
We've said it so many times, haven't we? That we are one half FC. We might not turn up for the first half, second half. We might come out and put a bit of a performances. The one thing with that is it's not sustainable. Is against a better team, you're going to get blown away in the first half, and there is no coming back from that, is there?
Kev, he's waffling, man. Look, it's almost like, you know, we've got...
I thought you said I was waffling, man. I was saying,
Amorim is waffling so much. It's actually painful for him to say that because he's literally got...
Is there no truth in that?
On the bench. And he subs on Ugarte. He's talking about control. He subs on one of the worst players in the league of controlling the game, Ugarte, who can't pass 2 yards. Absolutely awful on the ball. He's got Mainoo, who's absolutely unreal on the ball. He's press resistant. He's great at carrying the ball. He's got so many clutch goals last season under Erik ten Hag, on the season before, and he's not even utilising it. What an absolute joke from the manager to come out to talk about control. It's literally his fault. He keeps subbing off players that are... Casemiro, once again, obviously he's got tired legs, is where it is. He's still on the pitch. Casemiro gets subbed off pretty much every game because of tired legs. Bruno Fernandes stays on week in, week out, doesn't control anything, just loses the ball willy-nilly 24/7. He's got Mainoo on the pitch, on the bench, who's actually known for keeping the game simple, ticking it and controlling. If you want to see a game out, do it properly. Why are you subbing on Ugarte for? Like, it's a joke. What is he on about?
The comment that he makes, losing second balls, running with the ball, they were winning the first ball.
It doesn't matter.
Is that down to Amorim?
Listen, it doesn't matter who's winning the first ball or the second ball. Do the basics. Are you keeping the ball? If you want to see the game out, see out with players that can actually pass 2 yards, that help. But like, what is he doing? Why does Mainoo not get on the pitch? It's so frustrating.
Can I just say as well, yeah, because I've been hearing this for a minute now. This whole like Amorim's new tactic is winning the second ball and moving from there. To me, that's just the basics of how you play football. Like, should you not be aiming to win the first and second ball anyway?
That's League One.
Like when I play in Sunday League, my coach always says to me, if you don't win the first ball, you have to win the second ball regardless. That should be your main goal. So if our tactic is that we're going to win the second ball, we're not going to win the first ball, and then we're going to play from there, that is the easiest tactic to just nullify. Because as soon as if we don't win it, then what are we going to do? So I don't know. That to me is just, just terrible.
Let's talk about in-game management. I do want to talk about the substitutions. I think they were a bit baffling, but again, Roy Keane is setting the cat. He is the cat amongst the pigeons here. On Mason Mount, he said, I look at Mason Mount when he came on, he was like a schoolboy out there. He's not holding back. He said, you're looking for players to come on with presence. They brought the levels down at United. That seemed to be the case this evening. He went on to say, you can't relax. It was the substitutions. Every player at Old Trafford now gets a standing ovation. Where are the standards at this club? Where are your demands on the club? Your expectations, you are waiting for something to happen and get the job done. Relax at 3-0. Wow. It's absolutely...
Relax at 3-0, make whatever subs you want at 3-0.
But that's what I was trying to say. At 1-0 up, it looked like we were trying to relax.
Is he criticising the fans there for giving everybody a standing ovation?
I think literally Roy Keane is having a dig at every single... everything there at Old Trafford tonight. And that's a man that has won, you know, countless trophies, seen it all, won the lot at Manchester United, knows what the standards are all about, and they are being dragged through the mud. You know, we've seen it, haven't we? And
it all comes back to the manager. I mean, you can dress you up as much as you want, or, you know, this mistake was an individual mistake. Look, some of the players are not good enough to wear the shirt. I'm sure everyone in the chat would agree with that as well. But not playing Mainoo, I'm sorry to come back onto it, is absolutely embarrassing. For this many games, he's blocked his low move in the summer, and he's treating him like he's a villain. The kid's done nothing wrong. He can't even get bit part minutes. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm sorry. Why are you not switching to a 4-3-3? Drop your pride, for the love of God. Against Everton, 10 men, he's got 5 defenders on. He's subbing on extra defenders against 10 men Everton, and now against an awful West Ham team, you've got 5 defenders on the pitch, and you've got about 6 midfielders, or 4 midfielders on the pitch. None of them know how to play in strike. Mount was lost, and Burma can't play in strike. Bruno can't play in the front three. I think we've all established that. None of them knew what they were doing. As soon as they made those subs, if they scored, we were not winning that game. He basically gave the game to West Ham, and it's not the first time. He did it against Forest. He did it against a couple of other teams this season, and he's not learning from his mistakes. This is a question to you lot. When was the last time you said, no, what, I'm going to change the game with this subs? Please enlighten me, because I can't remember.
The substitutions do tend to be very predictable, I would say. I totally agree on the main thing. They seem to be like for like.
It's not just who you bring on, but it's who you bring off. Why does Bruno never get brought off? Why does he get his position changed just to keep him on the pitch when we take somebody off?
Accommodating.
Would it not have been make more sense to have? Would it have made more? I know they came on at different times for different people, but would we not have made more sense to keep Xerxes on, who we're hitting with the ball, and Mbeumo playing off him? Do you know what I mean?
No, it makes sense to me.
Wouldn't that make more sense? Why does Bruno have to stay on? What we're expecting? I mean, he missed a sitter in the end as well, didn't he? Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't say sitter.
It looks it to me. It looks it to me. I've not seen it replayed.
It wasn't a sitter.
But he skied it about 5 yards over the bar.
Yeah, I mean, there was a better chance.
It's a bit harsh to say it was a sitter.
Yeah.
Let me just read these super chats. Keil Robinson says, McLaren and Carrick in, by no means perfect, but we need to reconnect with our heritage and our on-the-pitch culture. Is that the second shout for McLaren? Oh, that's because I've read it out before. I was going to say, can't be 2 people in the chat.
Has he seen McLaren at Jamaica? What's going on there?
Cormac has said absolutely nothing, but thank you for that. Victor says Cunha is a high-volume play, meaning every ball goes through him at Wolves. But Bruno is that guy in United, so Cunha suffers and seems lost sometimes.
That might not be a bad shout, that. You know, if we've got too many...
Cunha is a high-volume player.
Bruno wants to do everything, and Cunha wants to do everything.
You've got to adapt, though.
You need that right balance, don't you?
You've got to adapt with the professional footballers. That's not an excuse for Cunha.
Possibly super chat of the evening there from Victor. Make sure you get your chat in if you want it read out. W. Skeezer says, is the organisation possibly at the point that it doesn't matter who the manager is or what the players you buy, the ownership has done too much damage? Cormac says Liverpool will be looking for a new manager soon. Should we move before them and get first choice? There's some serious panicking going on here this evening. It's reactionary to one result. But Andrew Webber says this team lacks intensity in all areas. We don't move the ball fast enough and play like backyard football. We need a midfielder in January ASAP. That's something we probably will touch on. I think we can all agree. Ricky's just alluded to the fact of why are we consistently playing Bruno in the midfield. We've got Casemiro, who is coming to the end of his career, sadly, but when you've got them two in the middle, you are not going to challenge and compete for probably Champions League football, I would say. Joe Davis says, do you think if we had Conte playing 3-4-3 with full-backs and defensive midfielders and 3 centre-backs and 3 attackers, the team would look more balanced? What I would say is at this moment in time, this team is very imbalanced. He's trying to find the right balance, but at the same time, is he really helping himself? You have to look at this and think he is the man that is responsible. He's on the side of this pitch, he's sending this team out and setting it up. And at this moment in time, we are not really seeing the results of this on the field. Paul says, ruined my birthday. Too many changes every week. Sorry about that. There's nothing we can do about it here at the Nightstand. Blame United. Pete says, RBN wants to do the superior envy, but it's backfired. The green team says no urgency in this team. Our better managers, Busby, Doherty, Fergie attacked. Our lesser managers, Sexton, Van Gaal, Moyes, Amorim, don't. Times do change in football, I would say. Rebel Spoon says Martinez should have started if he's fit, no leadership. You can't just... No. I think, listen, this is where you say if, and hindsight is a great thing, but to look back on that, Lisandro Martinez has been out for how long, made a substitute appearance against Crystal Palace. We even debated before this thinking that to start him in this game is high risk. If we're in a position where we're winning and we can bring him on, that was fine, but he's certainly not going to make that much of a difference at this moment in time. Carlo says, Ruben looks like a caretaker, not ready as manager. Paul says, why do you all back a failing manager? Including you in this one, Usman, as well, if you want to fire back. Why do you all back a failing manager and then pretend to be fans of the big club? Big clubs don't accept this, their fans don't, but you've been kidded into thinking it's a virtuous act. Embarrassing. And he's got 12 likes, that. Yeah, maybe I'm taking a bit personal. I think he's just at us. And Sam, a member for 51 months of the United States Members Club, says it's strange we seem to match our opponents. High intensity against the better teams, but slow and sluggish against the worst. Either way, glory, glory, Man United. And Raul Katek says, yes, Mords, when you put your thumb up to us today, strength for them was booming. Shame United wasn't. The players turned off again. There you go, you made Declan's day there. Absolutely buzzing. At least he went to Old Trafford, seen a really poor performance, but see Mords, what more could you ask for? I'm going to go back to Sam's comment there, because I do like to bring these in now and again, but it's strange. I'll start with you, Ricky, on the outside. Strange we seem to match our opponent's high intensity against the better teams, but slow and sluggish against the worst. There is some substance to this.
They seem to be getting better results. If we'd have looked at these 3 games that we've just played, the last 3 games, the one game we would have expected not to win would have been Crystal Palace away, wouldn't it? We probably would have expected to get maybe 6 points out of 2 wins and a defeat, perhaps. What we've done.
And in that game, we could have been 3 or 4 down at half-time. You know, it was the second half before. You can make the argument that maybe Crystal Palace played on the Thursday night in Europe. You know, what's that?
People like to look for reasons and not excuses. I can't think of the right words, but all I'm trying to say is, sometimes football just goes that way. I mean, at Liverpool, we worked our socks off and we managed to beat them. And of course, we worked our socks off, but we knew we would have to do. And we had to sit back a bit. We played some good stuff on the breaks, but they still missed sitters, you know. They might have put 4 past us just because. And certainly after we scored, Gakpo missed an header from 4 yards.
Post how many times in that game?
People think we've won that game because of that because our intensity was better, but it's not really the case. It's just football. It's just football. So I don't think we beat Crystal Palace and didn't beat these because our intensity was better. I think against Palace, you know, they had more of the ball and put us under pressure. So we've got to defend as well as you can. Of course, you've got to defend as well as you can in any game. But in the games at home against Everton and West Ham, as I spoke about earlier, we're expected to break them down. We're expected to make chances. I think we went to Sellers Park, not expected to make chances.
It's because in those games, like you mentioned there, is we're the team that's going to be in the ascendancy. It's our job to be, like you said, break the opposition team down. We don't have the capabilities with this system and the lack of movement off the ball. Like, how often do you see one of our players making a third ball run off? You know, let's just say Mbeumo and Ahmed are passing. Nobody's running off them to give them another option, just to create some confusion in the back line. A lot of the time, it's just
la passe est précise. Bon jaillissement, il fallait intervenir.
That just comes down to patterns.
On voit davantage un jeu de possession d'Arène. Ça semble simple comme ça, mais pour vous, quels sont les éléments clés pour que ça fonctionne?
Écoutez Grégoire, je crois que le principal c'est de faire vivre le ballon, pas seulement d'enchaîner les passes latérales qui ne donnent rien, il faut que jouer par le système et une certaine intelligence de jeu. Ça aide.
Because they had so much opportunities in the final third. The West Ham fans watching that game, with the amount of opportunities they missed at the final third, with the bit of quality they win that game, and they had like a 3v2 down, so many opportunities in the break. But we just got lucky that we went up against a half decent team, to be honest.
Where are we with this manager? I'm not going to say in or out. Or what should I say, in and out? Is it the kind of... Are we getting to that point now where serious questions have to be asked? We know that we've got Wolves next, which Ricky mentioned earlier on Monday night. Wolves have 2 points, not won a single game. Surely not.
No, I think...
let me rephrase it then. If Wolves were to beat Manchester United on the Monday night, where would you be with Ruben Amorim at this moment in time?
Honestly, everyone needs to lose. Not just everyone. If we lose to Wolves, they have 2 points. We would give them an extra 3 points. That's almost doubling the amount of points that they've got so far this season if we let Wolves win. I don't want to hear nothing about bogey team. The Wolves are one of the worst teams I've ever seen in the league so far this season. I don't think they would get 10 points. That's how bad they are. So there is no excuse. And the craziest thing is, we said the same thing about Grimsby. We said the same thing about Everton when they went down to 10 men. We should be winning this game. We said the same thing about Spurs in the final. We should be beating Spurs in the final, and we've lost all of those times. So, to me, genuinely, like I said, if we lose to Wolves, there is no excuse that anyone can give. I don't want to hear no excuse for the manager, no excuse for any players.
You don't think it'd be a knee-jerk reaction to one result. You'd look at it over a period and say, this is...
I'm going to win 13 out of 41 Premier games. That's not a knee-jerk. People keep acting like this is his first loss or this is his first run of like bad little. He's won 13 out of 30. His win percentage is like 32%. And this isn't just one-off game, etc. So it's by far the worst record that United ever had. And I don't think unless he wins the next 20 games, it's probably still be the worst record that anyone has. So to me, no one can act like, oh, you just be reactionary. You've been in management for 13 months now. That's one win per month. So we can't just pretend that this is just a one-off game here and there. This has been going on for the past just over a year. So to me, the Wolves game, I almost don't even want to make a prediction because if we actually lose that game, it is the most embarrassing thing that could possibly happen.
I did want to ask you one question, Maud. Obviously, you were in the Stretford end this evening for this game, and you did mention that at the final whistle there was booing. Now, depending on where you sit with this, you get this sense of the tide is kind of turning, and some people they have a right, don't they, some of these supporters to vent their anger, and they're disappointed. We've seen that ticket prices have gone up. You know, fans are travelling all over the country. We've got Monday night football, Thursday night football. These United fans are following this team everywhere. Now, when you get them little mumblings in the ground, this discontent, you do feel that it's kind of, it's kind of changing. Yeah, the tension and things are kind of changing with the feeling towards this manager. But just in terms of what that experience was like. You know, were the boos that loud or a small minority?
There was
frustration.
There was definitely boos at the end of the game, but there's been boos in multiple games. This isn't the first time. We've seen that all the time. But the way I look at it is, look, a lot of people say that United have negative fans. We've got a negative fan base, and I actually agree. But end of the day, the negativity coming from what we see on the pitch. If we're constantly talking about how poor we've been, if we're constantly talking about how poor certain players are, how poor the managers are, what do you expect the fan base to become? It's going to end up being that we are a negative fan base because we're constantly having to talk about how negative we are on the pitch. So at the end of the day, you can't blame the fans for booing, you can't blame the fans for being upset. They're upset because of what we've seen on the pitch. And the way I look at it is football is run by fans. If all the fans decided next game we're not turning up, there will be no club. None of these players will play for us. The manager won't be there anyway. They have to sell the stadium. Nothing would be there. There would be no such thing as Manchester United if every single fan decided I'm not coming. So at the end of the day, look, the fans are what make the club. They make every single club. So no one can look at the fans and look at the way they're acting and say that's wrong because the fans, they have a right to say what they want. They're the ones that are buying the kits. They're the ones that are paying tickets, like I said. The tickets are going up every single year. Season tickets are going up. They're the ones that are spending their hard-earned money, rather than working class people, but their hard-earned money to come to these games. We go to Old Trafford before nearly every single game and speak to fans. The majority of fans, some of them are coming from crazy countries. Coming from India, coming from across Europe, coming from Africa, South America, loads of people coming from South America. These guys are spending thousands of pounds of their hard-earned money to come to games, and the players on the pitch are not putting in 100%. That to me is embarrassing. That to me, you can't give me no excuse for that. You can't tell me that, because of this, because of that. No. If the fan base is willing to do everything they can to come and support, then the players on the pitch to do their job as well.
Well said, Marks. I think that was beautiful. I agree with everything. The only thing I disagree was the fans are negative.
Et ça ne passe toujours pas.
You're being toxic.
No, I'm not hearing none of this toxic nonsense.
Votre sentiment
What are we talking about? We finished 15th last season. Our only saving grace was Tottenham Hotspur.
Le ballon qui passe de l'autre
We
côté.
absolutely bottled that against an awful Tottenham team. And everyone, including myself, was like, no, I guess this season we're going to not everyone, but a lot of people were saying we're going to jiggle this season, he's getting his signing, etc. He signed X amount of players. We haven't improved in any aspect of the game, be it off the ball, on the ball, positional play, transition play from back to front. Yes, I understand Martinez is extremely important to start an attack. Yes, I get that. Luke Shaw, again, he's good at breaking the lines with his passing. I understand certain players have qualities that Amorim probably needs to, really get the best out of his system. But the truth of the matter is, as a manager, are you improving the team? If this was Real Madrid, God forbid, if this was Real Madrid, they would have driven that manager out. And again, I know people can say,
c'est bien, il faut continuer comme ça.
I don't actually care. Because the truth of the matter is, the league is absolutely atrocious right now. Any team, you had Aston Villa who hadn't scored in X amount of games, but now sat in third. That's how poor the league is. You string 3 wins together, and you're basically running for a conversation of being entitled. If Aston Villa beat Arsenal next week, 3 points off first, or Manchester United are being in this situation so many times you have not capitalized. That comes down to the mentality from the manager, and that comes down to the players.
C'est bien défendu, il fallait vraiment être solide.
Every single team play, we've come out like that. That's an absolute disgrace. We should be on their neck for the first 20 minutes, and they should have been having to weather the storm, and that is not the case. It's not good enough. Against 10 men, not good enough. It comes from the manager. The end of the day, the mentality is not there. He's a coward. The substitutions are absolutely diabolical. And to be honest, I'm on the flip side. We're not negative enough. We need to get booed more. It's not good enough. It's Manchester United. What are we talking about? Like, just like people are coming from South America, India, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia. I met people from Australia that spent 24 hours on a flight to see these lot walking on the pitch. Are you joking?
Mentality issue.
Can I come back in? Because it's a little bit linked to that, but I'm coming back to, I couldn't really think before how to explain what I was on about football being random. And people like to think that we won at Palace because we was more intense. And we didn't win today. Now then, at Crystal Palace, Xerxes scored an absolute wonder goal in a position that he shouldn't have been allowed to even get a shot in front. And it went past the keeper who should really have done a bit better. It went right close to him. That goal, we didn't score that goal because we were more intense that day.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Then we get a free kick that Bruno moves to his right.
Great assist.
Shifts it to his right. But it's not because we're more intense, is it? People think we'll be, you know, somebody said it, and I know a lot of people think, why did we work so hard? Why did we manage to beat Palace? You know, the goals are just random. Those two things could easily have happened today. Football is such a random game, and people have always got to think, oh, we've done that because of this. Do you know what?
I mean, one of them classic moments teams. Until yesterday, we were top of the set piece with Arsenal, weren't we? The set piece league. I think we're second now. But you don't get any team going on just moments.
Look, I mean, the Mountain goals, the individual
reçoit le trophée d'homme du match. Bravo, c'est mérité. Dites-moi, que vous dit votre œil sur cette rencontre?
On n'a pas vu du grand football, mais ils ont assuré l'essentiel, c'est le plus important. Chapeau à la défense quand même, qui a su conserver ce but d'avance.
Merci d'arrêter pour vos analyses, votre bonne humeur.
C'est toujours un plaisir partagé.
We should have scored today, and that's the case for every game. Like, that's why I keep saying Amrim has to go. Like, he's had his time, he's had his players, and he's not improved the team in any aspect of the game, not even off the ball.
You agree with that, Ricky?
Yeah,
I agree.
We're getting to this kind of crossroads, aren't we? Listen, it's late. Well, let me get through these super chats. I really appreciate everybody that's got in touch and letting us know your feelings on this. We will call it the Therapy Forum as usual. But Ryan says Amrim makes Erik ten Hag look like Pep tactically. Free Mortal says Amrim was probably the worst manager we could have recruited. We don't have the players for this system. Well, so if how is he the worst manager then if he needs the players for his system? Could we agree there's still a hell of a lot of deadwood in this squad?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In comparison to what he's been left with, what he's got to deal with. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Ricky's giving me the eyes here because he's probably thinking about Dorgu. We spend
millions and millions nearly every year, don't we?
Yeah. We do.
Nearly every year. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but there must be 10 players in this squad that we've spent multi-millions on, and they've all, you know, that have been with us, say, 5 years or less. There must be, surely.
So is it a combination?
Oh, yeah.
How many managers have we been through? How many players have played under different managers?
Not a lot.
Oh, of course, they're not all his signings.
No, but prior to this, the ones that he's had to kind of ship out. And there's been a lot of players that have left United.
I don't think that's a good enough excuse because a lot of the players that we go through either came last season or this season. If we actually look at it realistically, I mean, goalkeeper came this season, Lenny Yoro came last season, De Ligt came last season, Mazraoui came last season. Ahmad only really started playing last season. And Bremo